Hey, everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. Happy St. Patrick's Day. With me, as always, is the shillelagh to my shamrock, Rich Stambolian.
I was hoping you were going to go there, and you did. I thought it was going to be reversed. I thought you were going to be the shamrock to my shillelagh.
I could be. I mean, either or. Doesn't matter.
Shillelagh?
Huh?
What is a shillelagh?
What is it's a stick. I thought isn't it what you beat people with?
It is, right? It's like a curvy stick.
It's a curvy stick.
Fit Finley used to carry around and whack people with.
Yeah. My neighbor used to scream as a kid that he was going to go get his shillelagh and beat all the children on the block. It was a very common thing in my neighborhood. The walking stick, like a cane, but it's a beating stick. Vice versa.
There we go.
St. Patrick's Day edition of the show. Always a lot of fun here. Are you going out? You're not doing the St. Patty's Day thing, right?
No, I'm not doing the St. Patty's Day thing, but you know what? I'm having a morning beer, actually.
Oh, nice. Good for you. Let me see.
In celebration of St. Patty's Day.
Go
ahead.
I'm having a cold, terrible coffee with my wife's initial on it. I'm not very prepared for this.
It's been a rough one. Has the change of seasons really effed you up like it has me?
No, you know what? It's just been a tornado, dude. I'm packed. I'm so busy with like the shoot gig and the kids, and Jess was away for the weekend, and she just came back from New Orleans, and we got the May trip going. We're going to Double or Nothing. We got a bunch of stuff happening. It's a crazy. This is when I feel last year we lost all control of our lives, and it was like a spiral. And next thing we knew, we were in November. Oh
yeah, like that whole like April to the end of October was a whirlwind of Matt Men escapades.
It was a lot of fun, dude, and we're going to continue it. We're going to be at Double or Nothing with the F4W guys, with the Observer guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be there also, so I'm looking forward to hanging out and having a couple drinks with you guys and doing our thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rich and I are going to be there. We're collecting money to get the team over there. Matt and MG Geek, as you guys know, and Suncast, our producer. They want to come to this trip, and we want to make that happen for them. And the way that we're doing it, we're crowdfunding it with your donations in the chat. We need I think another $700 to get these guys over there, which is going to be great. So whatever you could pitch in, they deserve it. They work really hard at this. I'm not using this money for myself. Rich isn't using this money for himself. It's going to the guys. We're going to figure it out and get these guys over there. I just don't want to spend all the money out of pocket like I did last time.
Yeah, for sure.
The last two trips, I've been spending a lot of money on them. So I kind of
Were you ever reimbursed for that Vegas trip?
No, man.
Wow.
Nah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I paid like 30. I think it came out to like $3,800.
$38,000?
$38,000. $3,800.
You did buy that car when we were out there.
I did buy that car. So a lot to talk about with pro wrestling. Let's go into it, Rich. Sad way to start a fun show, but I want to talk about this, obviously. Scott Hall passed away on Monday. WWE put that graphic up during the show. They had a video package for him. We'll go into, obviously, what happened, but what an instrumental part of my childhood was Razor Ramon. And I'm sure the same for you, where he was the coolest effing guy on TV for that period of time. There was no one cooler. I mean, you had 7-year-olds telling their teachers that they were oozing machismo. He became a pop culture figure. I mean, even now, people know Razor Ramon. People know Scott Hall. He's kind of transcended into like this pop culture figure over the last couple of years, because we're all getting older. And he's part of that generation. Scott Hall had complications from hip surgery. Apparently I heard two things. One, it was scheduled, and the other one I heard that he fell and broke his hip.
The more dominant story out there seems that he took a tumble.
He took a tumble. Okay. I can't. I hate going. I get very icky about talking about people's health.
Oh, same here.
Okay, yeah. Especially when people pass away and stuff. I feel very icky with the whole thing. Like when Roman had, when he had his bout with leukemia, everybody was debating over how severe it is, how not severe. I'm like, dude, guys, let the man live his life. Like I find it gross to talk about it.
Yeah.
I get that it's people's jobs and they have to cover it, but like I choose not to. But I think for this stuff, like it's worth going into. He suffered 3 heart attacks on Saturday evening because a blood clot traveled, and he was on life support all day Sunday until the family took him off on Monday. He passed away. WWE announced it. They had a really well done video package honoring him. There were a couple references. Kevin Owens made a reference. MSK on NXT, and AEW. Jim Ross opened the show with "Hey Yo," and Britt Baker's gear was inspired by Scott Hall, which we'll talk about. Give me your memories, dude.
Oh man! All right, so when I was a kid, those first vignettes, those first Razor Ramon vignettes, you immediately were like, "Yo, who is this dude, and why is he so gigantic right now?
Why is he so cool? Yeah, why is he gigantic? Why is he so cool?
Why is he so cool?" And I used to watch that. I used to watch Superstars on Saturday with my dad, and immediately both of us were like, "Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy." Him and the Undertaker at that time, right? And to this day, my dad will still call me Chico. Like
my dad does say "Hey Yo" still,
Razor style. Yeah,
but like, do you think it was why did your dad connect with him?
It was like, I think it was seeing that and being like, oh, this is like a movie. This is like Scarface. This guy's like a movie star. This guy's got attitude. He's got the cars, right? He's got the women. He's got the jewelry. I think it was like, maybe for your dad too. Maybe it was like, hey, this is the American dream.
This
in a weird
is
way.
it is the immigrant's dream in America. You were cool as shit. You got you're dripping machismo. That's what it was for my dad. He would always say, like, he's like, this is what I thought America would be like if I had come to the country when I was younger.
Wow.
That's what he would have.
Machismo.
He's oozing machismo. Dude, look at this. Look how many buttons I got going. Where do you think I got it from?
Yeah, you're oozing something, all right.
I'm oozing. It's not machismo, dude. I got to get it checked.
I think you're just oozing.
I'm just oozing. Turning into ooze. Issa in the chat room, NYC Demon Diva. Someone let Andrew know I'll be back in New York in April, and I'm still going to fight him. You know where we're going to fight? On 39th and 5th. That's where we're fighting, on the corner over there, in front of the Marriott.
I want to see this happen.
Dude, I'm going to tell you
scratches
something.
whom the most?
Me. That's my first thing. I'm just going to go for like a cat scratch on the face, and then run. And get run over by those bike people. I'm over the bicyclists. I'm over it in Manhattan. I think we need to ban all bikes. I want more cars, less bikes.
You know what I've been noticing?
What?
More MFers are riding their bikes and scooters
on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. It's a thing now. There's no... I got a ticket when I was 14 effing years old, okay, for riding my bicycle on the sidewalk in my neighborhood. These adults, grown men and women are riding their bicycles on the sidewalk. You know what? Something comes over me when I see it where I just want to kick them. I want to kick all the bikes on the sidewalk. I don't care. I don't care if they get hurt. Like, I go through such rage when I see this.
Same here.
And my whole life plays before my eyes of getting arrested for someone getting concussed and, cracking their skull on the sidewalk. That's the only thing preventing me.
Oh, yeah.
MG
it's not good.
It's not good. All right, let's get back to wrestling.
Hey, listen, you know what? This is the St. Patty's Day episode. We'll talk about dudes driving their bikes on the sidewalk if we want to.
So, I think you're right about Scott Hall, man. He played such an instrumental part in pro wrestling, the whole cool bad guy thing. He was really a fascinating character in the industry. And there's so many what ifs. There's so many what ifs about this guy.
Yeah.
He was so fantastic. And he obviously, everybody knows, well accounted for. He had a lot of personal issues, but just even with those issues, this man changed the business. You know?
He loved the miss too, right? Like, he's one of those guys that he was a fan. He always had great advice for people. You always hear those rumors that like he never wanted to hold that big belt, but always wanted to be like that second guy who could help everybody and make everybody look amazing. Nobody could sell like Scott Hall, Also, one of my favorite punches.
Oh, dude, him and The Rock, great punch, right? They do the same style thing. Here's a question for you. When you would watch him as a kid, you thought he was cool. Like, even though he was a bad guy, you were still into him.
Was he the first cool heel?
I think he was. I mean, Flair was a cool heel. You know, Flair was a very cool heel. I mean, there were a couple, but like on that, for that time, it was still not something you saw.
Right.
I think for that era, but would he be? I know that it's such a take on Scarface, right? The whole thing,
right?
But would he be Vince's second most successful creation from top to bottom? Like that Razor Ramon character, I know that it was adapted from the whole Diamond Stud thing, but for Vince to create a character, like Razor didn't come in as Razor. They worked on the whole thing, the whole, Cuban dude with the toothpick. And like, when you compare it like with Taker, he's one of those.
Yeah.
Memorable character that was super successful.
Well, yes, I'm going to agree with you. Also, like honorary Latino. When I found out that dude was not Latino, I was like, "Holy shit!"
But you know what? Nobody ever said that. He was. It's like a bad thing. Everybody was cool with it when they found out he wasn't.
I think to your point of him being a successful Razor Ramon being a successful creation of Vince McMahon, if the character wasn't successful, he wouldn't have tried to do a fake Razor.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fascinating stuff. Scott Hall, unbelievable memories of this dude, man. This was probably one of the first wrestling deaths from my childhood that I was like, shit, man, that sucks.
Yeah, and he was young too. He was 63. Like on Monday, after I read the Kevin Nash post, which is very beautiful,
very
and heartfelt,
sad. Yeah,
I was like texting all my buddies, like, "Yo, I love you." Blah blah blah. You spend a lot of time with your friends, and then
absolutely, man.
At a certain point in your life, you kind of realize, like, holy shit, I've been friends with these people for like a lifetime.
Tomorrow has no guarantee, my friend. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. That's always my thing. It's not. Life is too short to even stress over nonsense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But me personally, like on Monday, I was like, my wife came home and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch like 5 minutes of the Scott Hall stuff. I'm going to cry. I'm going to get out of my system. And then that's it, because it's like, it was very emotional.
Yeah.
I was surprised with my own emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you said, it's one of those guys from your childhood that you really loved and followed his career.
I do the Hey Yo, like in my regular life. I do the Spooky Fingers in my regular life.
Yeah.
The walk, like this thing, like there's so much of that is played into pop culture and every day. Like if I do the Hey Yo, or I do like Spooky Fingers less, but the Hey Yo, people get it,
Yeah.
If you would get it.
We've been too sweetened for 25 years, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Instrumental part in WrestleMania 10 with that ladder match. Really revolutionized how, that match is done. That, went to WCW, changed everything over there. That company, single-handedly, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and I guess Hogan too, but obviously Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the dynamic changed the industry. Yeah. I know a lot of people have looked at them as villains for being selfish and only thinking about themselves, but it's. I always say it is very difficult to say that when you are not in the business and you do not see what these guys deal with, and you have to be. I think Raven said it, and I don't know if it was. I can't remember if it was Raven, but I think it was. Raven said something that the people that get ahead are the biggest marks for themselves, and you have to be at least a little bit of a mark for yourself to be successful. And I agree with that. You got to you got to protect yourself. So, terrible start to the week, but I think people are going to remember him for a very, very long time. I think he's going to play a part in pop culture and American society, global society for a long time. That character was really cool. And then onto another bad story, and I thought that this would be the worst part. Dude, Big E broke his neck on Friday.
Yeah, crazy.
When you were watching it, did you know something happened?
It didn't look good, man. It didn't look good. And I think in the modern landscape of pro wrestling, sometimes these guys take like these all Japan high neck bumps and you're like, ooh, that's going to leave a mark. But this one, you were like, oh no, this can't be good.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fractured 2 vertebrae, doesn't need surgery. That is the best news that you could have from the situation, right?
Yeah. So here's the problem though, right? The C6 is not. I got a really bad back. I got 4 ruptured discs. I got nothing. I got like the whole Shawn Michaels thing going with my lower back. It was really bad for years. I was nearly immobile for like 6 months before my wedding, and I've been through, and I didn't do surgery, through yoga and stretching, and I got this crazy roller for my back. I've been able to kind of live with this where I'm not in pain. So, however, a C1 fracture is not good. That is a dangerous injury to have. So I don't know, when or if or what, they do. I think it's too early to tell. I really hope it's not the end of his career. I don't think it is, but you don't know until, he kind of recovers a little bit from this. But that is a scary injury to have from a normal move, belly-to-belly suplex. And this is how it always is. I think you mentioned it. When Neville got that ankle injury, it was just a baseball slide, and it was a bad injury. It's not always the crazy high spots that do it. It's just something as simple as not getting enough leverage in a suplex.
Yeah, that's nuts. But you know what? A testament to Big E, like, isn't that the thing that wrestlers say? Like, yo, thick neck, you'll be okay.
Yeah. You need to work that neck out, man. Pete Dunne also came up. He was called up to Smackdown. He's now going by Butch.
Oh, Butch.
Part of Sheamus's crew.
Wait, you're talking about Butch?
I'm talking about Butch.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that name change?
It angered me. You couldn't call him Peter? You couldn't call him Peter? You couldn't just call him Pete?
What if they called him Butch Dunne?
Butch Dunne?
Yeah.
Pete? Butchie Dunne? But why? But you know what I mean? Like, you have a guy named Ridge Holland. Creative name.
Sure.
Sheamus? Okay, you know what? Goes with the gimmick. Didn't he have a last name? Sheamus did have a last name, didn't he?
Wasn't it Sheamus O'Shaughnessy? Am I thinking of something else?
No, he had a last name at one point. I forgot what the last name was. It was something.
I kind of feel like it was O'Shaughnessy.
It could be. Very close. Yes, it was, I believe. But why would you? And then, so you have Sheamus, you got Ridge Holland, and now you got Butch. Why? It really.
So imagine.
Creatively lacking.
Imagine you're in Gorilla, right? You're Vince's new trio. And then he's like, who do we got here? Sheamus, big, dependable. Ridge Holland, big, like your look. What's your name? Pete Dunne, sir. No. Your name is Butch.
Your name is Butch.
Now get out there and be a Butch.
They put the stupid, the wife beater with the suspenders on him. It just looks absurd, man.
He looks like a newsie.
He looks like a newsie. Yeah, he's a paper boy. He's a freaking paper boy. I get it. Their whole mentality is everything needs to be marketable, right? What's more marketable? A Butch action figure with the hat and the suspenders, or a guy in a singlet?
Or what's more disappointing? A Butch action figure with the
or a guy in a singlet.
Suspenders or a guy in a singlet. Like, if you imagine you're a kid and you were like, oh, my Santa got me wrestling figures, and then
who did you get?
Box, I got Butch. Yo, and I think it's also like probably backstage they were like, okay, we're not. This is just fun. We're not poo-pooing on anything. I think backstage they were like, yo, we're gonna do this whole Peaky Blinders thing. Yeah. We're gonna make it edgy. We're gonna do a Peaky Blinders thing with Sheamus and these guys. But it doesn't read as Peaky Blinders. It reads as Newsies.
Dude, I got to tell you, my brother one year for Christmas, he wanted wrestling figures, right? Everybody got him the same figure, and it was Chavo Guerrero. Everybody got him a Chavo figure. I don't know why. The disappointment on this kid's face after his third Chavo action figure. I still have them in my attic. I have them unopened.
There is nothing more disappointing as a kid when you get the figure that you least want. And I think honestly, maybe as an adult too, like sometimes my wife falls into that category where it's like a little kid's birthday that we know. and she'll do that thing where it's like, just get him whatever. And I'm like, no,
you gotta know what they want.
You gotta know what he wants and get him the exact thing or her the exact thing. Otherwise, they're gonna remember this shit for the rest of their life. You don't want the Butch figure.
You don't want the Butch figure. So I mean, listen, dude, I got Pete Butcher. I mean, Pete Bruiser.
Yo,
Butch Bruiser, even. Butch
Peter
Bruiser
would have been the best.
Butch Peter.
Butch Peter.
I like Butch Peter, dude. That's the way to go. That's the way to go.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Like Butch Peter comes out, he's got the suspenders, rubs them off.
It's a different show we're doing today. A little different. I'm feeling it.
It's Patty's Day.
Yeah, it is Patty's Day. Brock Lesnar change Paul Heyman out of the building. Not chase, by the way. He didn't chase him. He changed him. He took his clothes, put on new clothes, and sent them off. Another great.
A little mistaken word can change the whole sentence.
The whole sentence changes. Brock Lesnar chased Paul Heyman out of the building while wrecking everyone else. All right, so that was SmackDown notes. Raw, I watched all of Raw, okay?
Yeah,
for
me
the
too.
First time live, watched the whole thing. Just wasn't in town. I had some time. Do you know how I watched Raw?
Upside down and naked in that thing that you
very
close.
Very close. Very close. I was in my tub.
Mm-hmm.
I set up an iPad, and I had a bottle of whiskey, and I drank whiskey out of the freaking bottle in my tub watching Raw.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I was like, what? Because you said...
I'm sorry, it was vodka. It was vodka, not whiskey.
It was
vodka.
It was Sky Vodka.
Bottle. Yeah.
It was Sky Vodka. And then you said something about a rub, and you misspelled tub. I was like, what's happening right now? Oh,
we got a secret group chat where all the shenanigans happen. Yeah, I was in my tub, and I you know what? I enjoyed it, dude. I was in there, and I'm watching, and I got to tell you, I had a very nice Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Raw. I know, crazy. I didn't hate it. The only problem is, honestly, and this is the honest truth, it is an hour too long. If you condensed everything that happens on Raw, all the important things, into 2 hours, it would be such a better show. Such a better show. But unfortunately, it's 3 hours. Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins. So this was ridiculous. Seth Rollins has no opponent for WrestleMania.
Or does he?
Or does he? He comes out and he tells Kevin Owens, "Hey, I know how I'm gonna get on WrestleMania.
Right.
We're gonna have a match, and I'm gonna beat you, and I'm gonna do the talk show." What a dummy move. Okay,
I was very interested, to be honest with you.
I have a joke about these writers that I can't say publicly. Okay. I'll tell you off the air. I think this is absurd. This is such lazy simpleton writing. Not for me, dude. You got two of the best dudes in there, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, with a great stipulation. Yeah. Like, you could work this somehow. You could come up with so many other creative ways to do it. And this is how you came up with it. Now, maybe that they thought the Cody thing would be done by now, the deal, and they were scrambling last minute to come up with something, which I don't think happened. But aren't there a lot more creative ways you could get to this match as your main event, which was a good, the match was a good match.
You think there's like a...
What?
Do you think there's like a phone it in button?
No, I think it's like, they pitched these ideas, and like, I think some of them, what was said to me is that some of them have lost total confidence in themselves as a writer. And I get that. As someone that's creative.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And I've heard that tons of times from people that have written there, that have worked there on creative side, that you could be an unbelievably terrific writer. They've had people that have been on Game of Thrones, that have written for Game of Thrones. They have people that have written for top tier television shows. Great writers. Freddie Prinze Jr. And it just beats the creativity out of you because it is the same thing as shave those sideburns, Mattingly. That's
Absolutely.
how it is.
I think Ron Funches was a writer at some point too.
Well, Patrice O'Neal was, but I mean, there was no way Patrice was going to last there. He was on the plane. He was on the jet with with Vince. Crazy story.
R.I.P. Patrice, man. I love that dude.
Yeah. So Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins to keep his talk show, whatever that's going to be, with Stone Cold. I'm into this, dude. I'm into the Stone Cold Kevin Owens thing. Final shot of Raw was Seth Rollins in the ring, WrestleMania sign. He's looking up or whatever he was doing on that side with no opponent. Great moment for next week.
Very excellent moment. I was honestly waiting for Cody. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I stayed up late, and then I looked at the clock and was like, why am I not in bed right now?
I was said something with a wink and a nod about it.
Okay.
So I have no way of confirming this, dude. You know, like I don't want to confirm anything, but I'm looking forward to next week, seeing if it happens next week. Because I'm leaning towards if it is happening, which I do think it's going to happen. My personal opinion, not anything I know. I would imagine it has to happen next week.
Do you think they'll do a Hardy Boys and just have him debut at Mania?
I don't think they should. I don't think they should. I don't know. I mean, listen, either way, it's fine. You know, if they do it the night after, that's fine. They do it at Mania, it's fine. If they do it next Monday, that's fine. Like, it doesn't. I'm not as invested in like when they do it. It's more about how they do it with who.
Interesting. Do you think? I feel like the Mania thing would be interesting because then you could have Cody with that giant friggin' like train of a jacket that he had at the New York show.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to see. You know what? That would be cool if he comes out with that. You know, like the whole gear. I think he's super talented. I think they could definitely use him. If they want to turn him into a baby face, he could be a really good baby face on the top. This is a different Cody going in. I don't anticipate that he's gonna be pushed into the where he was. A lot of people think, oh well, he'll come back as Stardust. I don't see that happening. I think this guy's very protective. And you have to look at it this way. This dude left his own shop.
Yeah.
Right? To go somewhere else that he wasn't too thrilled with. So if he is taking that risk, he really wants it to be the way he wants it to be. He's not going to settle for something stupid like that. So,
for sure. And at this point, like, the ball is in the guy's court,
Yeah.
And again, like, this is one of those things where it's like, as much quote unquote inside information as we can get, it's still murky waters.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Edge has become the new Undertaker, which I really like.
God.
Dude, people, I mean, that promo was weird, but he has become that the new entrance is pretty cool. I like it. Yes. But he's like he's their Undertaker now, right? That's what they're doing. They replace the Undertaker with Edge, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
He's like a gothic guy. Yeah, he's a spooky guy.
Yes, he's this is gonna sound very stupid. He is their edgy guy, pun intended, that has bouts of spooky. Like, we were at SummerSlam when he came out with the Brood entrance.
Yeah, very cool. He's spooky. A vampire. He's always been a vampire. They need to play that up. He looks like one. He could be a good Dracula. I like it. Blah. You think it takes talent to play Frankenstein? I want it to be that. You want to see my Dracula?
Yes, please. Oh, that's good.
You like
that's
it?
Like a Nosferatu.
Yeah, it's a Nosferatu and a Dracula the movie.
That's how you also sleep at night.
Upside down, dude, like this.
Upside down.
That's how I preserve my youth.
When the bat wings wrap you up.
All right, what else happened here? Let's see. Becky attacked Bianca, slammed her throat through the chair, and threatened to chop off her hair next week. You think they'll do it?
Wow.
You think they're gonna cut her hair?
At some point that hair. I feel like if you're a wrestling promoter and you have that kind of
you got the
thing,
itch. Yeah, you got the itch.
At some point,
but
you're like,
the internet is gonna explode. They're gonna lose their minds.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's gonna be up in arms with that. Listen, I can't imagine Bianca likes wrestling with the hair extension in, right? It has to be really difficult.
It looks heavy, to be honest.
It looks super heavy, but like it's in the way of everything. I mean, it's quite an accomplishment for her to like work in a match with, like, it's on the floor. It's super long. It's in the way, and she's able to kind of do so much with it. And it's super impressive. But I can't imagine it's easy, right?
It doesn't look very easy, but again, they're seasoned at doing what they do, right? You got to keep the gimmick intact.
I guess so. I think that's going to be. We'll see what happens if they actually go through with it. I think it's fantastic if done right. They could do something really cool with it. Depends if they do it right. NXT.
Yeah, sure. You know what? NXT's kind of growing on me. This was like a little.
It's a weird
bit of
WWE show now. It's such a WWE show now.
It really is, and it's all like I feel like this week was like a little bit of a dud for me. You had the North American Championship ladder match. Santos Escobar beat Cameron Grimes. Great. Where do you see these two guys going? If anywhere? I think
Santos Escobar has a lot of upside. I think Cameron Grimes will probably just be a comedic character.
I've said this since we started our show. I feel like it's very tough for WWE to get that one Latino guy that they really want to put on top, And since Eddie and Ray, they've tried it so many times.
They've had it, and they haven't been able to do it. Why?
I don't know. I think it's just an interesting thing. Like you need that. Like Eddie and Ray,
cool
I think
Latino.
are the perfect. Yeah, I think Eddie and Ray were the perfect examples, right? Where it's like cool guys, the cool Latinos. You have like the blanket of whatever they could do in the ring and outside of the ring and the promos and all that. I think since then it's been difficult. Like you had Alberto Del Rio.
They tried it. I mean, they really pushed Del Rio. They never went fully with Andrade, and that was I never understood why.
Right, and then
I think some of it had to do with the language barrier, right? But I mean, who the fuck cares? He's so charismatic. He's great looking dude. He's got the look. He's great in the ring. Why?
And they tried doing it a little bit with Humberto Carrillo.
They did, yeah.
And it didn't work.
And Garza,
And Garza, and now it's like Santos. I'm putting like Santos is the last hope, basically, because apart from Santos and his guys, I think AEW has that Latin market cornered.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay.
Because
all right,
I could get those numbers, and I don't think that's true. I don't think
really.
Well, I think with Latin talent, are you talking about talent-wise?
Talent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. With talent-wise, yes. But viewership, no. Still heavy WWE.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. You had A-Kid defeating Kushida in his debut.
A-Kid.
What are we doing with Kushida?
He made a big mistake.
You think so? You think he made a huge mistake?
I think he made a huge effing mistake. I mean, he came in and did nothing. He's been doing nothing.
You have the Mysterio showing up in NXT with Dominic defeating Raul Mendoza. That was fun, right? It is. You're right. It is becoming a WWE show.
Well, I mean, it's all WWE guys on there now, right?
Yeah.
They're bringing the main roster down there constantly. So, I mean, their champion is Dolph Ziggler.
Dude. I like it. I get a kick out of it.
Do you know?
I think it's wild.
Somebody sent me a clip of us talking about this in early day of NXT, right?
Okay.
Early day of NXT. We were talking about how they would benefit so much by sending guys like Cesaro there to become their world champion. And Tyson Kidd to go down and become their champion. And now, like, they're doing it now, and that's the last thing I want to see in NXT.
Would it have been? You know what? I'm gonna disagree with. As if I'm you, I'm gonna disagree with what you're saying. Imagine if they did this at the height of like the Adam Cole stuff.
Yeah,
and they brought in Ziggler to be the champ, like during the Ciampa and Gargano feuds, during all the Adam Cole stuff. I think that would have made you throw up in your mouth.
There's a lot of this. Ziggler retained the title against LA Knight. I just want to go through this because we're going to run out of time here. Anything else? Cora Jade tried to attack Mandy Rose, tried to steal her car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mandy was in the car. It's so stupid. It was what it was. But they're doing good in the ratings. 620-something thousand viewers. They're not doing terrible. Their viewership is USA Network's happy with this. I had a conversation with someone on Tuesday from USA. And they're like, yeah, we're fine with the 6-somethings. Because, listen, even with that slammed roster, with like NXT being NXT, they were doing the 7s. So what that's, and USA doesn't care if it's only WWE, if there's some WWE guys they would just want ratings. And I think they're happy with the 600 and something rating, like that 620, 650, a 7 for like a big show. That's a decent range.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. WrestleMania update. Queen Sharmell will be inducted into the Hall of Fame by Booker T, her husband. All right, cool. It's a WWE Hall of Fame. A new match was added this week, Raw Tag Team Championship. RK Bro, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle versus the Street Profits. I feel like we've seen this match 1,000 times. This is one of those. Dude, you know what? One thing, though? They have a lot of tag teams.
They do.
They're pushing the tag teams. And I don't know if this is a response because of AEW's having tremendous success with their tag division. So I'm curious if this is them actually putting an effort in the tag division, or it just happens that they're just combining these guys because they don't have anywhere else to go. But Street Profits, RK Bro, you got the New Day, you got the Usos, you got Alpha Academy.
The Viking guys.
The other guys, they got a lot of tag teams going, so we'll see what happens.
Got a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You think? Do you think Montez Ford is going to have his breakout run at all?
I think so. Yeah, he has to. He's super talented. He's the epitome of what they want in a WWE superstar.
Oh yeah.
Very
likable,
loud, athletic, character.
Tall.
Yeah. Other news, WWE has filed a motion to dismiss the antitrust lawsuit with MLW. They even cited the Wrestling Observer to support their case right now. Fascinating stuff. So essentially, MLW is accusing WWE of being a monopoly and interfering in their deal with Tubi. And, WWE's defense is, hey, listen, we're not a monopoly. It's just you guys suck, and that's why you're not on TV. I mean, that's literally what their defense is.
Yeah.
Look at Impact on TV. Look at AEW on TV.
Right.
WWE's going to Wales for that stadium show. Interesting that they went to Wales and not London.
I believe you called this ages ago.
I did.
Yeah.
I knew that they were going to the UK. I said that they were doing a stadium show in the UK. I wasn't too sure. It was between Wales and London. There's a reason why they're not doing Wembley.
Okay.
I'm going to find that out. I think maybe they're holding off for something else.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm curious in this. Rich, let's go into AEW, man. Great show last night. You know what? I watched all of it late, too. I watched it around 11:30.
Wow.
Very much like the show.
Very solid show.
Very solid show. And that crowd elevated that show. They
Absolutely.
were into everything.
They picked, they picked a great town to do a very solid show in. You open the show with Adam Cole and Red Dragon beating Hangman Page, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. Fantastic, right? Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson beating the Best Friends with Wheeler Yuta coming back to the ring and getting in William Regal's face as if to say,
okay,
hey, I want to be part of the hard-hitting dudes.
Okay, so let's talk about this match, okay?
Yeah.
The opener was great, right?
Yes.
The opener was cool. Very cool opener. Hangman, big pop. Jungle Boy, big pop. They're going to do the Adam Cole and Jungle Boy stuff next, I think, and then that'll maybe lead to another match. Very cool stuff. Let's talk about this. Moxley and Danielson and against the Best Friends. Chuck Taylor, Dustin. You know what? Sweet old Dustin. And Wheeler Yuta. Or Yoda. Wheeler Yuta is part of the Zarian family tree.
I
right?
believe it.
Okay.
100%.
If there is the spectrum of Zarian, okay, I want you to think about this.
Sure,
the spectrum of
go.
Zarian is me. Seth Rollins is in it.
Yes.
Wheeler Yuta's in it.
Yes.
Andrade's in it.
Yes.
Drew McIntyre's in it.
That's a stretch, but I'll give it
Drew
to you.
McIntyre's in the scale of Zarian. John Alba's in the scale of Zarian.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There is a scale of dudes, and we just fluctuate. You know, like we could all be related.
Elias,
another one could be on that spectrum. We could, it goes from anywhere from a cool Hispanic to a Persian-looking dude to a jacked up dude from Scotland.
I'll give you Mansoor also.
Mansoor could go in there also. He could be part of that. He could fit in the spectrum of Zarian. Someone needs to make like a spectrum of all these dudes. Like the Zarian types.
I think you're in the center. On your left is Mansoor, on your right is Wheeler Yuta, and then it gets more exaggerated.
Does Ali fit in there too? Do you put Mustafa Ali in there?
Maybe. I think he'd be a stretch too. But definitely
there is a spectrum here. Someone needs to make this. I thought so. They beat the shit out of Yuta. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I could not. I mean, it was like almost like an initiation, right, of sorts. They were so stiff on this poor boy. Danielson especially was just beating the shit out of him. Moxley too, but Moxley was a little bit better, you know. I got to tell you one thing though. So rough. Chuck Taylor gets tagged in, right? I've never seen Danielson be as gentle with someone as he was with Chuck Taylor in comparison to Wheeler. You have to watch that match again, dude. He beat the crap out of him. The match happens, whatever. Obviously, Moxley and Danielson are so impressive together, huh?
Oh, they're the best. Did this remind you of, I forgot what Royal Rumble it was. I think we did a watch along for it, where you had Benoit in the ring with Guerrero, and then all of a sudden Daniel Puder came in. And
who was in the ring? Who was in the ring?
It was Benoit, it was Guerrero, and I think Daniel Puder showed up, right? And they wailed into this guy.
Yeah.
Like
when Puder, yeah, because Puder was a dick. That's why.
That reminded me of last night a little bit, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Tough kid. He took it. He got in that slap from Regal.
So good.
Slapped the shit out of him. You know what? I thought that was very well done. And Danielson just smirking the whole time, you know, smiling. I would tell you that is, I wasn't 100% sold on that tag team with Danielson and Mox. I was like, it's almost like they don't have anything for them, you know?
It works, man.
It works. They are a machine. I was very impressed. These two are just, there's two different ways to look at wrestling, okay?
Yes.
There's one that you watch it as a casual fan and you're watching and you're seeing the moves happen and you're watching, the characters and whatever. And then something clicks. And I think that's the case for like a lot of our viewers, right?
Absolutely.
Something clicks and you start seeing a lot of the other tiny, like your placement in the ring, your foot movement, the way you're doing the cover. You know, when you start seeing that, you will recognize how great these dudes are. I was not, and I think a couple of weeks ago I was like, whatever, they're going to do a tag team thing. I don't know if I want to see it. I'm totally changed. I want to see it.
This is the wrestling that I want. This is exactly what I want. You know, like I want that hard hitting Danielson Moxley tag team being led by William Regal. This is wrestling heaven for me, by the way. I don't know if you know that. And also, I think they should call themselves the Nation of Domination. I don't know if that name has been taken already or what.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Is it taken? I don't know. We'll find out. Can Tony buy that too?
Imagine if they started calling themselves the Nation of Domination. Because they dominate in the ring, dude.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Very much like that. This goes into the Jericho Appreciation Society commencement. Jericho comes out there with his bonehead crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
They look ridiculous. Like, they just look like a bunch of idiots, which is great. I like it. Jericho says that he's a sports entertainer. Daniel Garcia grabs a mic, makes people think he's going to go the opposite way, and he says, I'm a sports entertainer too. And they are sports entertainers, whatever that is, and they got such booze in that building. What do you think of it? Do you like it or yeah?
I like it a lot, and I had very low expectations from this to begin with, but I think, putting these guys with Jericho really works. And also, you know what? It gives Hager something to do.
It gives Hager something to do. Yeah. All right. It is what it is. We'll see where this goes. What else do we have here, Rich?
Let's take a look here. We also had Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow, which was a fun match. Sean Spears interfered, and MJF chop blocks Wardlow. America's top team took out Wardlow as MJF proceeded to pay Lambert in the ring in front of everybody.
Yeah. Well done. They destroyed Wardlow, so now Wardlow's in a program. Obviously, this is becoming a big part. This is part of the big push for Wardlow. Which let's see what happens here. The next match, Private Party comes out. Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn against the Hardys in their AEW debut match.
Great.
I gotta tell you, Jeff Hardy is. You want to talk about the spectrum? Like, he's on the Michael Jackson spectrum, right?
In what regard?
He's like a little Michael Jackson-y.
Please explain.
He's like if Michael Jackson became a wrestler. That's how I see it. With the moves, the dancing, this thing. I feel like he's very smooth. I don't know. I see a Michael Jackson-esque to his in-ring. I'm not saying it in a negative whatsoever.
I really don't see that. I want you to explain this as
I can't explain it, dude.
As you can.
He's like a weird. I see influences of Michael Jackson. I have no idea why.
More so than like a Shinsuke Nakamura.
Way more.
That's insane.
Yeah, way more.
Wow.
Way more.
Listen, these guys were called. Imagine this. 20 years ago, these guys were called Small.
They were called Small, yeah.
And listen, I toss this around a lot, but I think in my wrestling purview and the way I watch wrestling, there are certain guys that you can add the name Immortal to, right? For my money, the Immortal Billy Gunn, because this guy looks ridiculous at 60 years old, right? The Immortal Chris Jericho. This dude looks ridiculous at like 53 and he's still doing top quality matches. The Immortal Jeff Hardy, because it seems like he'll never stop, right?
The Immortal Jeff Hardy. Yeah, he's guys, can you take care of the chat, please? My chat room is exploded at this moment.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is getting wild. That's how you know we're doing something good.
I forgot I got more mods in there. I thought it was MG just dozing off. We got more mods in there, so perfect.
We got like 40. Anybody that buys you a beer could become a mod.
Yeah, you could become a mod, dude. It's all good.
What did we have for the main event, Andrew?
Let me get my notes here. So sorry. Okay. So the main event. Thunder Rosa defeated Britt Baker to win the AEW Women's Championship. This was in Thunder Rosa's hometown, steel cage match. Thunder Rosa came out, great entrance. Great look. Britt Baker came out. You know, I got to tell you, I thought this was a really good. I enjoyed the match. There were some issues. I think if you watched the match, you saw some issues. I thought they did a very good job. I thought they told a very good story in the ring.
Yep.
This was the right finish. I loved how they went through with it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Is it a 5-star match? No, it was a brawl. It was a steel cage match. I saw a lot of criticism online about it. There were a couple spots that didn't look good. Who cares? Listen, big picture, right? They did a very good job. Very much enjoyed it. Main event, man, and it felt like a main event in that building.
Dude, the crowd was with it. I was with it. You were with it. Sometimes an amazing intro and entrance really add to a match. I think this was definitely the case. You got that as soon as you saw those mariachis, you were like, oh, this is going to be something special. You know, like they did such a great job with it. They kicked each other's asses, and a very well-deserved win from Thunder Rosa, and kind of a slow burn win too. They didn't just throw the belt on her.
Yeah, no. They told a story, and it was a 1-year story. You know, she had a great match a year ago. There were a lot of throwbacks to it. And, you know, it is what it is. It was very well done. I'm curious who her opponents are now and what they do with this and what Britt does. You know, she had a really dominant run for a while.
Well, you're going to get like the third part in this epic series, right? The rematch.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you're probably going to get the return of Hikaru Shida.
Shida and her. I mean, there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah.
She'll do good. Let's see. Do you want to go into questions?
Yeah, let's do it. There's another note here. I don't know if you want to go into that, but we can do questions.
All right.
How do you feel? What do you feel like doing?
Let's see. I would say, you want to do the Scott Hall stuff?
I would love to if you want to.
Okay,
I feel
let's
like
do it.
there's tons of stuff that there's tons of directions that we can go in.
Okay. We're going to do a what if, okay? On the fly. I haven't thought about this. Let's do, what if Scott never leaves WWE in 96? Right?
Ooh,
contract comes up. He signs a 3-year contract. 96, 97, 98. This runs him to end of 98, early 99. Right? See, I have a problem doing this one because the whole landscape changes if he doesn't go to WCW, right?
Now, let me ask you this. Is Kevin Nash gone also? Or does Kevin Nash stays?
I would say that Kevin goes.
So
Kevin doesn't stay.
Kevin's in WCW.
Yeah.
And he's doing the whole like spiel, right? As if somebody else is coming.
He's doing the whole spiel. Well, no. Kevin goes and Kevin does his own thing in WCW. Him and Scott don't go together.
Right.
He goes and does his own thing. Scott stays. So 96, you know what I would rather do? Here's what we'll rather do. I'm changing it. When does Scott win the world title in WWE?
Oh, that
has to be 93, right? 93?
That's very interesting. Does he want the belt at that point?
I would say that 93 would have been the moment.
Or was it one of those like, thank you for being loyal. Here's the best we could do. We'll give you like a nice run on the top and you'll make like extra money.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I would say 1993, Scott Hall now becomes the guy, right? Lex Luger, the plan of Lex becoming the man doesn't pan out.
Dud.
Lex is there. They don't do the Lex Express stuff. Scott Hall turns. He becomes a babyface in 93. He does a program with Perfect maybe, and then who's the champion in 93? You got Yoko, right? Yeah. You got Brett. I would say that him and Yoko have, they go at it, and he beats Yoko for the title, and now the match is Razor and Brett for the title. I would go in that direction.
What year was Shawn and Razor for the IC?
Shawn and IC for which time? Because they did this a couple times.
The ladder match, the SummerSlam ladder match, was that 92?
That was 94.
Okay. Do you still have that? Do you still have that match?
Yeah, I would still have that match. I would do it maybe for the world title.
I was going to say, would it be for the world title?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Changes the whole main event. You
Fair
now
enough.
have that in the main event. At WrestleMania 10, main event is a ladder match for the title. No, they would never do that. It's a gimmick match for the title. At that point, they didn't do that.
So how long does he stay in WWE? Is he a lifer? Does he go? Does it end up being Austin versus Shawn versus Razor, or is Shawn out of the picture at this point because Razor's on top?
Shadow says in the chat, and this is good, Hall and Brett feud over the title at Mania instead of Yoko and Brett. So then the Shawn Michaels match never happens, right?
Oh, interesting.
Then it never happens. Very interesting.
So where do you go from there? So how long is his run on top?
I think his issue...
And does Austin still happen?
So Austin does happen. I'm just going early. Like 93, that was a bad time in that company, right?
Right.
It was a very, 93 into 95. 95 was not great at all. But now you have another guy in 1995 that you're going to bounce the title in. He wins the title in 93. Maybe he cools off for a little bit. He does a thing. Now 95 comes, and now he's in the mix for that title in 95, 96 with Diesel, Taker, Shawn, him. Who else won the title? Did Sid have the title in 95?
I think Sid, right? Sid was in the
95,
mix.
96? A lot of these dudes now in the mix, right? Yoko's still in the mix. 94, 95. A lot changes. Why are we booking Scott Hall on Earth 2?
does he still go to New Japan, and does New Japan put the belt on him?
Huh?
Does he still go to New Japan at some point?
No. The New Japan thing never happens because he got the money. He was happy.
So he never leaves.
I would say he never leaves. I think he stays.
Do you put him on commentary? What do you do with him?
Eventually? I don't know.
Yeah.
He becomes an agent? I don't know. I think his run, the Scott Hall story has so many holes in it where, this guy could have been the world champion. It wasn't for obvious reasons. They didn't put him, make him the world champion, but they changed, they had a very interesting group of young guys. I mean, Scott was one of the older ones, but they had an interesting group of young guys. What happens if Scott never leaves and Scott stays? Or what happens if they felt that Scott was more reliable?
So on the flip side, let me ask you this. Would the NWO still happen?
No, see, that's the thing, right? And that's the most interesting part. It really is the butterfly effect, right? And okay. I think on We're Live, Pal, I said this. If Hogan, think about this, right? If Hogan turned heel at WrestleMania 5 against Warrior.
Right.
Right? I don't think any of this would have played out.
That's very interesting.
One booking decision.
Effect. Yeah.
One booking decision. If Hogan turned heel at WrestleMania, right? And then they do whatever. That oh my God, Hogan's the third man thing really doesn't matter. You don't even think about doing it. Maybe he never even goes to WCW because that's 1990. He doesn't get burnt out as, this older babyface in Vince's eye. They have another way to do this. Warrior's run maybe becomes a little bit more successful, having him as the babyface, putting more eyeballs on him as the good guy. The business changes 1990, 91, 92. Everything. There is a major butterfly effect, and I think a lot of it has to do with that Warrior match, Hogan not turning.
I'll posit you this. All right. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
What if we kind of keep the trajectories the same, except you swap Scott Hall with Shawn Michaels and Shawn Michaels leaves and he's the guy that Kevin Nash has been talking about?
Oh, that would be crazy. That'd be fantastic. I think they can still do it. I think it would still work.
Outsiders, etc.
That would still work.
And then, but would Hogan be the third man?
That would be such a weird group, huh?
Right?
Well, Hogan never fit in on that thing. It was so weird seeing him doing those like typical Hulk Hogan 1980s promos, and then Scott Hall like says like two words, and he's like, "Cool dude," and Kevin Nash is cool dude, and Hulk Hogan's doing his 1980s promo, trying to be a cool dad.
He's a cartoon, yeah.
He's a cartoon. Fascinating stuff. I just I love thinking about these things. I like to do it on the fly. I think it's fun to do it. All right, let's go into Q&As.
All right, guys, we're going to do some Q&A. If you want to get bumped to the top of the chain, you can super chat us. Also, we're trying to get to Vegas. We're trying to get all our asses to Vegas. You can super chat us for that. We're trying to fund our trip. Super chat us with the hashtag Viva Las Vegas. And again, trip is a couple months away, but we're thinking of some fun stuff to give you guys if we can make this happen. Maybe some extra stuff on Patreon, maybe some exclusives, maybe an exclusive OnlyFans Matman account that you have access to. I think your tub experience was the teaser for that, Andrew.
That is the teaser.
If you want to take a bath with Andrew,
you can take a bath with me.
All right. You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's hit it. All right. This is from All Elite Cowboy.
Oh,
on Twitter. Page. Is there any internal discussion regarding a potential match between Kenny Omega and CM Punk at some point this year?
Yeah, I know that they're going to get there for sure. I think both guys want to do it, but it matters. I don't know about this year. I would hope so. When Kenny comes back, you have him in some interesting program. It has to do with timing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where's CM Punk headed now? What's his program next, you think? For that Double or Nothing pay-per-view.
That's a good question. I think he has to insert himself in the world title picture at least within the next year.
Oh yeah, definitely within this year he has to, because he's alluded to it, right?
Yeah, he's alluded to it, and it's like that old adage of, if you're not here to win the big belt, then what are you here for?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I totally forgot to mention this. Bret Hart's showing up at AEW, right?
Oh, really?
Like, I would say he's going to be there at that Long Island show, because I mean they're kind of alluding to it. Are they not?
They very much are, and in that post Revolution media scrum, I believe CM Punk talked at length about Bret Hart.
Yeah, so he did that, and then FTR fired Tully, and they had that backstage moment with the Bucks. Did you see that? Were you paying attention to the words that they used?
Ooh, what did they say?
They were like kind of alluding that Bret Hart's going to come in and like manage FTR.
That would be pretty fantastic.
Like I mean, I saw directly as that, and I think that'd be great. I don't know how much Bret wants to do, or he can, but they got that. They got the Owen tournament coming up, and I think it kicks off in Long Island, does it not? I could be wrong.
I think you're right. What's interesting about that too? That whole family promo, family, Hart family, etc. That could be tied into it, and also Dax was on Renee's podcast a few weeks ago, and he really chatted up Bret.
Yeah, they love him.
Guy.
Yeah. So I think that's where they're gonna go, and I think that's a really cool get to have Bret on TV managing these dudes in some way.
Absolutely.
I think that's a very cool get if it is happening. Sorry, I had to. I wanted to bring that up, but I do see them having a program at some point when Kenny comes back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Best in the world versus the best bout machine.
Yeah,
you're printing money. You're printing money right there.
Yeah.
This next one is from Shadows 6677 on Twitch. Andrew.
Yeah.
Can you confirm? I lost it. Andrew, can you confirm what Janela has been saying about AEW ghosting people?
I heard that from other people too. I have no way of. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know that maybe it's a little bit of a communication issue that they have, that they just don't have it in place. Janela's gone, right? Janela did an interview with Denise and mentioned that he's not re-signing with AEW.
That's very interesting. He was one of their original gets.
He was one of their original gets, and there was a lot of high hopes for him when he signed in. But I think he's done interviews where he said, he's like, I could have worked harder or whatever. I think, he's a cool dude. There's something there. Maybe goes to Ring of Honor. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal. They need to fill that Ring of Honor roster. Why not just move him there? Do something over there, or maybe he's going to do. He has GCW. He does his own thing. He does a spring break. I think that maybe that's good enough for him.
Never say never.
Never say never.
This next one's from Joel Wood, $1.99. Thanks, Joel. Do you see Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 38?
Is that this year? Are we at 38 this year?
I think so.
Or is this 37? What year is this?
I think this is 38 this year.
This is 38. I think so. I think it's a done deal.
All right. Fair enough. I think
everybody's
so too.
being very quiet. Yeah, everybody's
it's very
vague.
Quiet. Murky vague situation. This is another $4.99 from Joel. Thanks again. FTR are fully entrenched as heels, and I can't see Bret at this stage playing the heel like Tully. So how would that work? That's a great statement.
I didn't see them as heels. I thought that they were pretty much baby faces. In that Bucks segment yesterday, I think they're gonna turn. You don't need them to be heel. I mean, their thing was they loved Tully, but Tully lost his I guess his
smile.
Not a smile, but like his motivation once they won the titles.
Okay.
And that was the story. And they're like, listen, we love Tully, we love everything he did, but we got to move on. And then they use certain words that kind of alluded to Bret Hart. I think they'll be faces if Bret's there, and I think it'll be a cool team. They could do double sharpshooters as the finish.
Awesome.
Perfect.
This is from Miguel Almaguer on YouTube. Do you see Cody as being seen as difficult?
I don't think so. This is normal business. I think if you're not, here's the thing. He has a management team. He has an agent. He has this. He has that. I mean, there's a team behind Cody because he's on TV.
Yeah.
He has things in place. I don't think it's him being difficult. I think it's just him trying to get the best deal for himself. It's not about the fans. It's about him and his family and what he's going to do for the next couple of years. I can't ever say someone is being selfish or being difficult when their job is to, essentially fall. He's a stunt man, right? Essentially, he wants the best possible positioning for the high risk job that he has. I think this goes for anybody.
Yeah.
You want to make as much money as possible and to get as much as you can when you're doing something like this.
Absolutely.
I deal with contracts with musicians, with artists weekly. Sometimes people are difficult. I don't think he's being difficult with this in this case.
No, not at all. Not like late 90s Shawn Michaels difficult.
Not like difficult like that. Yeah.
All right. This is from Connor Augenstein. Another Cody question. Could Cody coming in possibly create a relationship between WWE and AEW? Forbidden door, Andrew.
No. It's there's going to be no open door with them in that sense. There are people that still believe that Vince McMahon is behind AEW. I get at least one of those a week on Twitter.
Like ECW style?
Yeah. Vince is funding it. Vince is doing it.
It's a Vince
McMahon thing.
Listen, like, we don't really know what's going on, but you're kind of close to it with your sources.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, sometimes they're great. Like, sometimes they know a lot of details. Other times they just know enough. And then it's, my decision. Sometimes I don't put stuff out.
You're very wise about that. Very judicious with your information.
Yeah, I don't do anything personal. When I hear something about someone's personal life, I never do any of that.
But whatever you tell me, I write it up and put it in a blog anonymously.
Who am I? Perez Hilton?
Guess what? I'm a Mets fan forever.
You are Mets fan forever, yeah. And I'm WrestleVotes. I've been telling people this for months. Nobody believes me.
The bomb has just been dropped.
I'm WrestleVotes this whole time, and I'm Dolphin, and I'm Mets. You're a Mets fan. I'm Dolphin, and I'm WrestleVotes.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This is from BC Knight on Twitch. Do you think Bandito, Roosh, and Dragon Lee will stay with this new Ring of Honor or sign somewhere else?
God, I hope so for Ring of Honor's case, because all three super talented.
Here's a scenario for Ring of Honor, and it's a really quick one.
Yeah.
Make Andrade your champion on whatever new iteration of Ring of Honor happens, and do kind of like their LIJ.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm. Well, he could do LIJ now.
Yeah.
He could do something like that. I don't know. I think like Bandito, Roosh, and Dragon Lee, they're unbelievable in the ring. Are they big national acts? Are they AEW level acts or WWE level acts? I don't know. I don't know if the fans would appreciate it, but I think for Ring of Honor, I think that core base, this is now very hyper focused into in-ring style and stuff like that. I think there's enough people that would attend these shows, couple thousand, right?
Yeah.
2,000 to 5,000 people for big shows that would do, and they would do well with it. I'm very curious about the Ring of Honor stuff. Very curious about the Ring of Honor stuff, because this is now I'm getting flashbacks of when WWE was planning on doing WCW, and then everything was in place, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah. You never know what could happen. You never know what changes overnight. There's another $4.99 from Joel Wood. Do you see WWE doing any forbidden stuff with anybody besides the Mickey thing earlier this year?
I don't think so. They're so in their bubble. And this goes back to it. They're not pro wrestling. They don't see themselves as pro wrestling. They're their own thing. I've always drawn that Vegas live show, comparison, or like a Cirque du Soleil. But watching Raw, man, it is shocking. When you really watch it and then you realize like this is so different than what I am used to when it comes to wrestling. It is the Muppets live action movie. It's the Muppets live action TV show on USA. I mean, that's really what it is.
And speaking of Muppets, did you catch Seth Rollins' appearance on Kimmel? Was Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah. I saw it. He killed a little leprechaun.
How close to being an actual Muppet is Seth Rollins at this point?
Oh yeah, but that's the whole thing. That's the grander idea for WWE. Mm-hmm. Larger than life.
I think he nailed it. I feel like Seth has nailed Vince's vision to a T as far as that over-the-top cartooniness goes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at them. They're all like that. Brock Lesnar, he's a cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be a moose, right? If you were going to depict him as a cartoon, he'd be a jacked-up moose.
Maybe a moose or like a bear with a cowboy hat.
Bear with a cowboy hat.
A big Kodiak.
Yeah, jacked up.
Let's see what else we got here. This is from Drucifer 2A on Twitch. Why won't WWE change the men's tag title belt on Raw or SmackDown? They seem outdated compared to the rest.
The silver nickels, whatever they are now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think their titles are all over the place. There's no continuity with them anymore. Like it's like you got those stupid penny titles, and then you got the men's and women's matchup. You got that wonky U.S. title that's really cool looking. That IC title's terrible.
I like the IC title.
They're all over the place with that. Yeah. They're all over the place with the titles. They don't really have like the continuity that they once did.
I think they're trying to find their ground with that, and also their branding. You know, like that the main titles with just like the big diamond W. Yeah, those have never done it for me.
Well, what are they going to do now with the double title? It's not a is it the undisputed champion or it's a unified champion? What's the word that they're using? Unified?
I think it's unified, yeah.
So they're whoever wins this title will become the new WWE unified champion.
They have the resources to make an insane looking classical belt, right?
To combine
but do they
them?
Want to?
I mean, it would be really cool. They wouldn't do this, but like when you win both titles, you walk around with the world like the big gold belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
They could bring that back just for that time period and sell a whole bunch of them on their WWEshop.com or whatever. There are things that you could do to create synergy with your marketing team, which is generally running this company now. Everything is marketing driven and everything is merch driven. So you could do something. I don't know if they're going to combine them temporarily or what, but I'm sure they're going to have like a title belt on the WWE website that's both colors, blue and red. You know, for maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know, but I think they need to update those tag titles for sure. Absolutely,
100%. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you think Io Shirai and Dakota Kai go to the main roster after WrestleMania 38? That's from Supersonic X.
Maybe Io. Maybe I don't know what their plan is with that current generation of wrestlers in NXT. You know, you do need some of them, but do you need Io there or Dakota there?
At this point I don't think so. I think they should be moved up to the main roster in some capacity. But you could also move Mandy Rose back, or send somebody back down to NXT. Who knows? They're experimenting now, right?
Tons of experimenting. And it seems like it's somewhat working. I got to see their demo numbers. I didn't see the demo, like how they did in the key demo for NXT, but their numbers seem okay. I'm curious, let's see what happens. Anything else?
I think we're good, dude.
We're good? All right. Yeah. Let's wrap it up, guys. That's it. We the best music. DJ Khaled. What do you want to plug? You got a podcast going.
I do. Every couple of weeks, me and my buddy Alex do a film podcast called Film Class Zeros. You can check it out everywhere. That podcasts are available, I think. And also my own Behind the Counter 2.0, which I'll have a new episode up this Saturday. So check that out too.
Excellent. Thank you, Rich. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian. I'll be back on Sunday, Wrestling Observer Live. I think I have Will Washington on with me this week.
Very cool.
I think I have Will on. I got to just confirm with him. But we're going to be talking about, obviously, Razor Ramon and everything else happened throughout the week. I like to make it into like a recap show on Sundays to talk about just like the big stories. It's an hour. Easy breezy on the radio. Yeah. Tuesday, I'll be back with Garrett. We're live, pal. And I am working, I'll give you guys a little teaser. I'm working on a very cool podcast concept for Observer. Very cool. It'll be a monthly thing. And I'm telling you, everyone's going to love it.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
All right. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to dangle that carrot in front of you. All right, guys. That's it for this week. See you all later. Bye-bye for now.